Look, John Jones, like you said, his resume speaks for itself. I'm not going to count him out. I think he would have a chance. He has a certain amount of length. He got more reach still. He's good at using his.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Malik and Hollister. Unfortunately, Tyrone couldn't be here. He celebrated birthday with his lovely girlfriend, so they are doing that. But UFC 260, UFC 260. Oh my goodness, man, that joint was so crazy. Um, as we talked about yesterday with our fight predictions, we all 2-1. Tyron Woodley unfortunately didn't get to win and didn't win his fight, but at least he went swinging. So before we get into everything, I want to get the guys' opinion about these fights. So Hollister, you can go ahead, then Melly, then I'll go.
Yeah, I had a losing record. I was actually 1-3, but so the first one was the O'Malley versus I can never remember the guy name. He
Thomas Almeida.
yeah, Almeida. Sean O'Malley was dominating the fight. I feel like he could have finished the fight early, but he got a little cocky and arrogant. He was like kept stopping. Like, all right, dude, you gotta continue to the ref. Either you knock him out clean or the ref stop the fight. But I like how he came back straight. He looked better than from he looked improved from his injury, which is good. And I also like that little technique he was doing, like with the neck switch, like he was act like he was turning and he catching with a little hit. I like how he did that, and he did. I like that little fadeaway he did when he finally got the official knockout when the referee stopped the fight. He did a little fadeaway for celebration. That was dope. The second fight was Tyron Woodley against I forgot the Vincente
Yeah,
Woodley.
Luque.
Oh man, yeah, it's Woodley. I don't know. I guess this might be it for him. He had his good run, but
No, it's not Mike. Son. This is pretty
it
much
is
it.
because I was disappointed. I was like, "Dang, he got choked out, submitted the first round." I'm like, "Come on, man!" But stuff happens. But he had a good career. Sometimes there's always people is getting better at day by day, training, getting ready. And I'm upset that I didn't pick Ngannou to win, but I was happy he did win. During that fight, I watched it this morning. I noticed a lot of good things. He was patient this time around against Stipe. He got some clean shots. His conditioning improved. His takedown defense was. Stipe couldn't believe it. He improved his takedown defense. Like Michael said yesterday, too, the smaller cage plays a factor. I don't understand how, but Michael will explain that at some point because I never really paid attention to it.
Now I'll get into it real quick. So before you finish,
Mm-hmm.
the smaller cage is just that. It's more. It's like think about it. It's like if you put like two big guys fighting in like a park versus
Mm,
fighting in the phone booth. You're closer together, so there's not enough room for you to evade and move. So
got it.
the Stipe's, his strategy was to be elusive. That's why he came in lighter. That's why he did certain things just to be elusive. And when you have a small enough cage, it could work both ways. It could allow him to like really smother Ngannou, but I'll get more into that. But that's pretty much
Got it.
essentially the whole science behind it. But go ahead.
All right. And then Gano definitely dominated Stipe this fight. Compared to the first fight 3 years ago, he definitely dominated him. And he improved every aspect from the fight. Like, and Gano, he's going to be a great champion. Hopefully, he holds the title for a long time. I'm happy that he won. We got three African champions, which is amazing. I love it. Shout outs to Usman, Izzy, and now Ngannou for doing that, holding it down for their country. And I'm looking forward. Hopefully, it happens either July or August or in the fall. The John Jones and the Ngannou fight. But I'm happy. O'Malley won. Willie, I'm kind of disappointed, but hey, it happens. And Ngannou, he got his championship. Especially after everybody know about his journey, I'm so proud of him and happy for him.
Malik.
Yeah, so with the Sean O'Malley and Almeida, like Hollister was saying, O'Malley went in there. He did his thing. There was a lot of talk, and I did mention it even myself. My main only concern was not that I think he couldn't deal with kicks in general, but if there was some lingering issue with the leg or mentally it would have affected him. But he prepared for it, and he didn't let it do that. He kind of did that before, but he made a point to switch his stance. He also did a good job having the distance, and he used his kicks. He used his legs as well, and he was able to, use his length and reach and pick Almeida apart. Now Almeida's tough, man. He took some shots too. He took a good, leg kick. I mean head kick, and he took like that right hand that almost finished him in that first round. And then, like Hollister said, he wanted that walk off, so he he prematurely, stopped, and then he could have finished him potentially there, but he kept at it, and then he got that finish in the third round. It was a definitely a highlight reel KO. So it kind of reignited that buzz. So he got a lot to look forward to, a lot of buzz surrounding him. So he went out there, he did what he needed to do. Now with the Tyron Woodley and Vicente Luque, man, like, and once again, Luque's a tough guy. He's been winning a lot of his fights. I think he won like 9 out of his last 10, or maybe 10 out of 11 now after this fight. So he ain't no slouch and or nothing like that. But Woodley, this is his fourth one, like Michael was saying, like, and Dana alluded to it after, like, he's 39. Those losses is a wrap pretty much
Yeah.
for him. It does kind of suck because in the last 3 fights, he got a lot of criticism and critique for not really going for it or seeming like his head wasn't in there, being too tentative. He came out. He definitely came to fight yesterday. He was more aggressive. You can see he was letting his hands go more. And part of the reason he got caught was because he did catch Vicente a little bit and was trying to go for the finish, and then he got caught, and then it was downhill from there. But he showed some grit. I mean, some of those shots you would have think he would have been out, or just slept, or got that TKO the other guy, but he held on, and then the guy ended up switching and going for the Darce choke, and submitted him. So it's unfortunate that I mean that might be how he ends his career, but I mean I think it was a better showing than some of his other fights recently. Like at least he went for it. Yeah, it was that kind of risk reward thing, but at least he left it out there, and he gotta kind of move forward. And Vicente, if he could keep this momentum he got going, he definitely probably could make some noise in the division. So we'll see what he does. And then now with the Steve and Ngannou, like so, you know with this fight, like I said yesterday, I was saying, Stipe can win. I feel like if it goes the distance, right? But I did say I felt like if it finished within the first 2 rounds, it was going to be Ngannou. I think Ngannou
Yeah,
would have
you
been
did say
able
that.
to, yeah, yeah. I felt like Ngannou would have been able to catch him. And if you look at it, Ngannou showed, like Hollister said, he showed improvement. He showed better takedown defense. He showed, that he could be measured, that he wasn't just going blitz or, gas himself out super quick or just not let the fight come to him. I think, he really took his time, and then you could see that he's been training a lot of wrestling, which obviously he would be doing after what happened to him in the other fight. And I think he also, with that measured pace, he would have had more in the gas tank. I mean, obviously we didn't get to see it go to the championship rounds, but he came in there with a game plan this time, and I just it just makes him even scarier because before he was like more unpolished, and he was scary then, and now he's really putting it together. He changed up his team, and he's working with Usman, who's a very good wrestler, and he really he was focused, he was dedicated, and it showed. I mean, the guy is just like, even with Stipe fought all right too. Like he caught him with one shot, but Ngannou was able to kind of eat it, and then Stipe was vulnerable at that moment. He capitalized, and once he saw that, he came, and he was like he was leaving it to no chance. So Stipe is tough. He took a good shot in that first round, and another good shot in the other round. So not no knock to Stipe. He's a champion. I don't think this will tarnish his overall legacy much. But I'm looking forward to, Ngannou's reign or his era, to see what he does. And like Hollister said, any potential matchup with John Jones could be pretty interesting, or even at the Derek Lewis if they run that back. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with everything. It was just like, just to kind of run through the card before I go to the main event. It's like the sugar joint was cool. I do agree. I think he was just looking for like that highlight reel, the viral stuff. He's the younger guy. He's in that era where, he want the spectacular finishes that's going to be played on loops and memes and getting, retweeted. You know what I mean? So he had an opportunity to end the fight in the beginning. And I thought that he took his foot off the gas because he thought it was a walk off. And I said, look, Thomas Almeida is very tough. He even came back, like unfazed from that head kick. I'm talking about flush head kick. flush combinations he was landing, and he didn't finish him. So anything could have happened. He could have actually turned the tide, but Sean O'Malley was really putting in that work, switching up stances, being very elusive, was just a lot faster than him, and he just seemed more polished and more crisp. So like you were saying, Hollis, so he was doing a lot of feints and like those kind of like look away like punches and like trying to like really get him to bite on certain things. He was like really making him miss and doing his thing. So I give him a lot of credit for that. It's good for the division. It's funny because a lot of people made a joke saying that Dana White was super happy that Sugar won as well as Francis Ngannou. He was wanting Francis Ngannou to win 3 years ago. Black Panther was coming out, the whole mystique of this big burly man pause, like, they'd be like look the part, like he's solid. They're not like how some other heavyweights where they kind of fat or like, look kind of like a dad bod. Like this guy look the part, like a big warrior. And they wanted that because easy to sell. He's knocking out people. It's like it put butts in the seats. And when heavyweights are killing like this and the heavyweight division is strong now, it really helps, move the sport forward. We all know, even in boxing, the heavyweights are always the ones that everybody talk about. Even the novices who don't really watch boxing, they always talk about heavyweights because those are the guys they see. Those are the guys they think about. So with that being said, moving on to the second fight, which is the Tyron Woodley and Vicente Luque. I was scared for Tyron. I was pleasantly surprised when he came out swinging. I felt like, this is the first time he wasn't coming out like, dancing and being reserved. He felt like I'm going to take him. And like Malik said, he took a chance. He got caught lacking. You know what I'm saying? He caught him and he thought he was hurt. And a lot of times you got to be very careful with being overly aggressive. I think that's what caught Ngannou the first time when he fought Stipe. He hurt Stipe a little bit the first fight and was trying to get at him and just gassed himself out and rushing everything. And pretty much got dominated because of that, because, Stipe was crafty and he's a champion for a reason. And he did what he did the first time around. So I felt bad for Tyron because like we can look at it how we want to look at it. He lost to the new champ who've been dominating so far. He lost to an up and comer who got washed by the new champ. He lost to a guy that everybody said gave the new champ the best fight of his career in Colby Covington. And then he just lost to Vicente Luque, which is sad because Wonder Boy fought him like I think sometime before this fight and washed him. You know what I'm saying? Not washed him, but went the distance and actually was like putting some work on him. So like you look at like where Tyron was beating Wonder Boy twice. And then Wonder Boy put the work in and beat this guy. So it shows style makes fights. It shows that it was a lot of mental things with Tyron because I think that he got to that pinnacle. He didn't have that hunger. Maybe he was getting his own. He's getting older too. Like the man, 39 years old. Like he's almost 40. It's unfortunate. And I was telling Malik and him earlier is that he's a guy where because he's the ex-champion, he makes a certain amount of money. And the UFC is trying to cut money and cut costs. You know what I'm saying? So they're looking at these guys who are getting paid all this money. Like Overeem was making like $1 million per fight. You know what I mean? Sometimes $800,000 just to show. You know what I'm saying? And if he wins, you get another $800,000. So when you're paying these guys a large amount of money, they're no longer champions. They're getting beat by some of the younger guys. Like you want to cut the fat. So unfortunately for Tyron Woodley, I'm pretty sure that this is his last fight, at least in the UFC. I don't think the UFC is going to give him another guy. He doesn't have a chance to really make a case for another title run. He was 7th. He probably dropped down to like maybe 10th or maybe not even on the rankings at this point if they do decide to cut him. It's unfortunate because I do like him as a person. I do think he was a decent fighter. I know I have friends who like always criticize him, say like he's just like a one-trick pony, overhand right. And I was like, nah, he had more skills than that. But the division caught up, you know what I'm saying? And those guys don't fear him now. And now he's going to be a guy now that people just put on their resume. So I beat Tyron Woodley, a former champ, and now they gassed up now that they could be a champ. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's pretty much it for him. It's sad to see how he left. They got fight of the night, so at least he has that, a consolation for that. But it's just sad to see that, he went out like that. But at least he went out swinging, so I'll give him that. As far as the main event, I like both guys, and I felt bad for Stipe. I think Stipe is a good guy. I think he's a fireman. He seems like a nice, wholesome guy. So no disrespect to him, but I wanted Ngannou to win. And when Ngannou won, I was screaming in my house yesterday. Now, I was watching the fights, how I was watching them, okay? And my connection got, blocked. And I was scrambling to find it again. I was scrambling, you know what I'm saying? And then like one of my boys sent me something and I was able to get back on. And right when I got back on, that was 20 seconds before the final sequence that happened. And like Malik said, he got caught. Now, Stipe has a hell of a chin because he got hit clean. Ate it. Don't get me wrong, I know he hurt, but he ate it. You know what I'm saying? He tried to take down Ngannou. And once I saw Ngannou, scramble out of that takedown and defend it, and use that strength and that extra 30 pounds of muscle that he had to stop that takedown. Even though a lot of people felt that Stipe made a mistake on the single leg, and maybe John Jones wouldn't do that. We will get into that a little bit later. Still in all, it was just crazy, man. I just knew it was gonna be a long night for Stipe. And when I got in there and I see him get caught with that little check hook, because he thought he had Ngannou hurt when Ngannou caught him with that jab and he ran off the fence and he caught Ngannou with the overhand right, because Ngannou does do that sometimes, leave his left hand down a little bit low, and he tagged him. He thought he had him hurt. So similarly to what happened with, Tom Woodley, he came in there thinking that, I got him hurt. Now it's my chance. And the guy was like, no, I'm not hurt. And caught him with a nice check left hook, a nice short left hook, and dropped him. And once you fall back in your leg like that, and you doing them break dance like them reverse split, like freaking James Brown and all that joint, I knew it was over. And then he got that hammer fist that almost put his head in the canvas. It was over. But it's good to see, man. You got 3 African champions. Ngannou, I felt deserved it. His story, like I said before in the last podcast, y'all should check it out. And if y'all watch Joe Rogan's podcast, y'all can get the clip. Y'all can just hear his story. Just read it on Wikipedia. You'll hear his story, like how he had to do what he had to do. And a lot of this was like more emotional for him about proving people wrong. People, especially, he quote unquote, he called them his friends growing up because, we all know that in some cultures and some areas, you got people who have money and you got people who have nothing. And he was one of the guys who had nothing. And the friends that he had who had stuff was just getting on him and making him feel like he's less than and all that stuff. Like he really wanted to like stick it to them. So shout out to Stipe. I mean, not Stipe. Shout out to Ngannou, and I think he's going to be a hell of a champ. Now, speaking of John Jones, I like Jones. We all consider John Jones the GOAT. Okay, the greatest of all time. You forget about the stuff outside of the octagon, the picograms. You know what I'm saying? Look, the man resume. The man been fighting title fights since 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So the man, and he hasn't lost. So we got to give him the credit when his credit is due. But I don't know about this Ngannou joint, man. It's like, Ngannou's hard to take down. I'm not saying that John Jones ain't strong. I'm not saying that John Jones is not a crafty guy. I'm not saying any of that. But I'm not in the camp of people who feel that he is trying to price his way out of a fight by saying, show me the money. Dana White came out last night and said, yo, I'll tell you what show me the money means. Show me the money mean that, you probably don't want to fight the person. If I was John Jones, I go to 185. Like, you're going to disrespect the man. The man was a king at 205. You're going to tell him to go 2 divisions down because you think he don't want no smoke? It's like, that's ridiculous. So I want to get you guys' opinion on that. If y'all do feel, if John Jones were to fight, how do you feel he would do? And how you feel if to win, actually. So go ahead, Alistair.
I think if he was to fight Ngannou, it would be like a new challenge for him, like something he never really faced before. Because I feel like the Alexander Gustafsson, whatever his last name is, fight, I feel like that was a big challenge for him. Gustafsson, yeah. I feel like that was a big challenge for him. I feel like that fight was good, very close, but he came out and won. But I think if he goes against Ngannou, this is like a whole different ballgame. I think he would be, he could hold his own against him, but I don't know who will win that fight because Ngannou improved. And if they do have to fight to them, he's going to go look at film and he's going to train even better and come out even stronger and fight faster. And who knows? But if he goes against John Jones, that would be a very interesting fight. Who will win? I'm not sure yet. I have no clue. But John Jones, he hasn't fought for a while, so I guess people kind of write him off. But I still think he could, make some noise. But just see what happens. John Jones. He said all you got to do is start training again. But just got to wait and see what happens. Hopefully, I hope the fight happens. I hope it does, but just gotta wait and see.
Yeah, Malik.
Yeah. So yeah, as far as the John Jones thing, like, look, John Jones, like you said, his resume speaks for itself. I'm not going to count him out. I think he would have a chance. He has a certain amount of length. He got more reach. Still, he's good at using his reach tools, etc. But I would. Ngannou has a chance against anyone with the power he got. So as good as I think John is, and I'm not saying once again, I think John has a shot, a legit shot, but when you're dealing with Ngannou, especially Ngannou as he's improved, like if he fought the Ngannou that fought Stipe the first time, I would feel a little more confident. If Ngannou continues to improve, I think he could give Jones a challenge because he is a big guy. He does have a lot of length and reach too. I think Jones still has more reach than him, but that power that he got, all it takes is one thing. Like John is really good at avoiding getting hurt and taking damage and getting caught clean. Like he's gotten caught here and there, couple times, and he's taken some shots, but we haven't seen him tested at this size. We haven't seen him at this size yet. So once again, I would like to see him, at this size. And like Hollister said too, he hasn't been fighting for a while. But look, I'm not going to disrespect John Jones. He's considered the GOAT by a lot of people for a reason. And like I said, I think he has a shot, but I also think Ngannou has a shot as well. I think it would be a real test for him. I think this would be something that would even further cement his legacy. And as far as the whole Dana thing, I think, yeah, I think it was disrespectful to kind of be like I, on the one hand, like I get Dana trying to say like, or make light of the fact like, yo, after seeing that, nobody should want to fight that man. But it's like, at the end of the day, John Jones has fought who they put in front of him, and to put him on the spot in a sense to be like, oh well, it just show it's like it's also him trying to do his business side of things, and put it where it's like, oh, I tried to make the fight, I would want to make the fight, but it to give him a little more leverage, because Jones is like, at the end of the day, for John Jones, he has everything to lose and not. I mean, he has something to gain because he could be a
Exactly.
champ, right? He got that to gain, but if he lose it could not. I mean, look, to me, his legacy is cemented, and he's going up to a new weight class, taking on a new challenge. So if he would lose, it's not going to affect too much to me, but it will take away that undefeated. Because I mean, yeah, he got that quote unquote loss, but he never really lost to anybody. So you know, he's taking a risk on that. He's taking a risk moving up. He's taking a risk fighting Ngannou, like, because who he is. So it's like, if I'm gonna put all that on the line, show me the money for real. Like, make it worth his while, because he has a lot to potentially lose there. So I think Jones is willing to take the fight, but he want to make sure, because of what he would be putting on the line, that he's compensated fairly. And I mean, he has been somewhat disrespected in a sense, or he's felt that way by the UFC, as far as what he is and what he has done for the sport, and the kind of deals that they've been willing or not willing to do for him. So I mean, look, their company, he's been around, he's put in the work, and show him the money, man, if you really want to make it happen. But I think it would be interesting if it does happen. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, I think the John Jones, like I said, I'm not discrediting John Jones. I know sometimes it's like recency bias. We recently seen Ngannou when we see him knock out all these guys he fought. Like, I think they said the total minutes of the fight, the last 4 fights he had is like 7 minutes. And Stipe is like the most out of that 7 minutes. You get what I'm saying? So to me, you look at it from that perspective, like John Jones has always been a technical guy, always been a guy that, utilize his IQ to win fights and not his power and stuff like that. He did, piece up some people and, use that. He knocked out DC and stuff like that. He was able to like cement a lot of guys and just dominate guys and finish guys with TKO. So I'm not taking anything away from John Jones, but it is going to be a fight that's crazy. And to your point, Malik, and we said this earlier when we was talking, I don't blame him for wanting more money. It's like he's been a draw for a long time. Yes, he has a lot of stuff that kind of like hampered his career with his actions off time, and when he wasn't fighting and different things like that. But at the end of the day, the man put butts in the seat. He is arguably the GOAT of the whole MMA. His style, his dominance of a division, everything. So to say that is like, ridiculous for him to ask for that, I think is wrong. And I think like the UFC understands that. Now, Dana White is a businessman. He's a promoter. His main objective is to get the most money he can for the fighters. So he's going to look at John Jones and say that, and he going to, do what he's going to do and leverage Derek Lewis fighting Ngannou, because hey, if John Jones want to play ball, he's going to do that. And I feel that John Jones should get paid, because when Conor McGregor asked for his money, he got it. When Conor McGregor, I mean, don't get me wrong, he did have some issue with Dana, but he ended up getting it. You know what I mean? They was offering to freaking give Khabib the freaking moon to keep him fighting. So now you hear that you have a champ. Yes, he gave up his belt. You have a champion, arguably the GOAT that you say he is, right? He wants to fight Ngannou, and now you're making jokes talking about, oh, I don't know if you want to really fight him, and he should go to 185 and all this, etc. because you don't want to pay him. And I feel that that's wrong. I feel that, if you can do it for, your boy Conor got his freaking proper 12 on the mat when he be fighting, getting money from that and sponsorships. You can't even get this man more money. So John Jones said, all right, y'all want to play that game? I send the information to you guys, to the UFC, and I'm going to be a full disclosure. I'm gonna disclose everything they said to me, and I'm gonna let you guys know the number that I'm at, and y'all let me know if it's too much. And like Malik made a joke earlier, like, yo, this hazard pay, you gotta add extra money for that. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm fighting Ngannou,
Yeah, man.
you know what I'm saying? Like this is more. Like Ngannou has more to gain. Ngannou already beat the arguably the best heavyweight champion that UFC ever had in Stipe Miocic. He defended the belt 7 times. I think. Oh, this was his 7th time, so 6 title defenses. You know what I'm saying? And he, did his thing. You know what I'm saying? And for him to beat Stipe the way he did in a dominant fashion and to wipe out the division for the most part, at least the top contenders for the most part that he did, the sky's the limit for him, and he's gotten a lot better. Like we was able to see some wrestling. He added some kicks. The main thing that he did that he changed was patience. He was always like a headhunter guy and knowing that, look, I can take these guys' shots and I know a lot of them can't take mine. Now, he was a little bit more shook with Derek Lewis. He's the only other person that I see in the division who has like crazy power like Ngannou, because even though Ngannou was knocking out all these people, Derek Lewis got the record for knockouts in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it a buck. But my thing is that, the way he fights is like, yo, this guy has learned so many different skills now. He's adding jujitsu, he's adding wrestling, he's adding kicks. Like I said earlier, he's just gotten overall better. So if he can stay this trend, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be a problem. Like it was like Malik said, it was like this the Ngannou who fought Stipe the first time was a little bit raw and it was just beating people off his like power. Then yeah, I think John Jones probably have an easier time. I don't think that John Jones is scared. I don't think that John Jones may not cannot not beat him. I think he could beat him. I think John Jones can actually find a way to win. Would he knock out Ngannou? No. Would he dominate Ngannou like how Stipe did the first time? I don't think so. Would he able to submit Ngannou? I think he can. Would he able to at least make it interesting? I think John Jones can. And people forget John Jones got brothers who are NFL players who are just as big as Ngannou, if not bigger, and he used to fight them. You know what I'm saying? Growing up and doing those type of things. So I mean, I look at it from that perspective. Like he's not. But people used to say how he trained with bigger guys and heavyweights when he's in Albuquerque training for his fight. So to say that John Jones can't do it, I won't say that. We just have to see. And I think that'll be a crazy fight. And I think he should be paid for it. You know what I mean? It makes sense. It's the biggest fight the UFC could throw right now, even bigger than any kind of fight at the moment. And I say you'll pay the man his money because if he wins, then it's arguably he is the GOAT. Hands down. There's no more discussion anymore. There's no more picogram thing. There's nothing else you can say at this point. The man is the GOAT if he beats Ngannou. If Ngannou wins, hey, it was expected for him to win because he's the beast and he heavyweight champion. He's Francis. So, it is what it is. But great card, great fights. See what happens. But, let's talk. We mentioned this briefly. We'll just maybe spend a few minutes on this. We don't get too deep. We talked about the basketball. Now, Hollister and I, and Malik too, we are net fans for the most part. And everybody's saying all these different things like, oh my goodness, why? How much more did the Nets need? And I thought KD wanted to win it on his own. I did Stop it. Okay. Unfortunately, people want to say the big three from Boston. I think, look, this new era, I'm all for player movement. I'm all for players having their destiny in their own hands and doing whatever they want to do. However, it does hurt the NBA. We are diehard fans. We grew up watching basketball. We watched basketball in the late 80s, early 90s, Jordan era, all those great teams. We watched it. So we invested in the product. However, the ratings have been going down because most people don't care. Like, especially when Golden State was doing anything, even though Golden State didn't do like what LeBron and them did, they drafted and them cats just got nice together and they added KD in 2017. But, it's only like a handful of teams that people care about and the rest is like, all right, blah. So I feel that people are hating on the Nets and they're getting on them for no reason. But I could kind of understand why the average fan will say that because they're not really invested in the sport. So I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on that. And, we all heard the news of Drummond signing with the Lakers. And what do you think? So Malik and House.
Yeah, so as far as the Nets thing, like yeah, so like you said, for the league in some regard, it's kind of like when everybody was like, it's going to be Golden State and Cleveland in the finals every year. Like people was like, don't talk to me about nothing else. It's going to be those guys. It takes away for some people, for some of the, excitement or just looking forward to certain other things, right? So now people looking at like, oh, the Nets got this guy, they got that guy, now they getting this guy. What else do they need? Like, oh my God. Like one, they created a situation that made other players want to come there, right? They not like and not everything is like a forced trade or them like doing this or doing that. The teams didn't want certain players. They were like, oh, we gonna buy you out. And them players had choices. Other teams wooed them. Other teams put forth their packages or whatever, and they chose to go to Brooklyn. Like they creating an atmosphere and an environment that is exciting for a lot of people. Now, I know people. It is a lot of star power on that team. Not everyone's still in their prime, but it is a lot of star power. But that also takes something to make that work. You know, look what happened at time when LA got Karl Malone and all these other people like Nash, Kobe, this, that. They had all those people. They ain't get it done. Like it can be hard when you got all those egos, all those people who used to a certain amount of touches, attention. Yeah, they got skill, right? And they deep now. Like that's one thing that helps them out a lot. But I just feel like, look, it is what it is, and for them to put everything together and actually make it work, especially with all the changes in the season, I think that still counts for something. And at the end of the day, if they win the chip, they win the chip. It is what it is. Other teams have been doing stuff like that. It might not have been as glorified or the names might not have been as big, but other teams have done stuff where, they just got this player, another player, another player. So yeah.
Exactly. Hollister?
Yeah, I see. I see. I get it. Like why people are upset, but also two people have to factor in. Like I'm not trying to sound arrogant, nothing, but the Nets have a good culture that people want to go to that is attracted to. Like they attracted Blake Griffin with the culture they have. They see, like Michael said yesterday, they see the teams having fun playing together. That's what attract players. And LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin, they were both free agents. They had the right to sign to wherever team they wanted to go to. I'm sure they probably looked at a select few teams like, all right, this we could work out here together. They probably spoke to Sean Marks, Steve Nash, some of the players like, oh, they probably said, all right, if you come here, this will be your role. They accepted that. I think a lot of people are the same thing. It goes back to like when Boston had it, but they didn't sound like the superstars like that. They had KG, Ray Allen, those guys. They was a little older. They had some young. They had like the PJ Browns, the what's the guy named James Posey, all those Eddie House and those guys. They had a lot of role players. They knew their role. Miami did the same thing. They had the big three. Then they had Mike Miller, Ray Allen, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody has their turn, and also too, Brooklyn when they traded for KG and Paul Pierce and all of them, they traded so much assets away, so much draft picks. It's like now that they really got back to like all right to the point where they can have draft picks, and they traded the draft picks, they signed players, they built the culture, a winning culture with Kenny Atkinson. Then they moved on from him. Now they would have free agents. They got Kyrie and KD. Now they have a championship caliber team that attract people. Everybody go through the cycle. They go through the rebuilding stage, and then you get to the point you got to save up your cap space and make little moves here and there, attract free agents, have a good culture. Now look, you got a whole team that can win it all. I think a lot of people are upset because the Lakers didn't get the Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge, et cetera, et cetera. But in the sense too, a lot of people don't want to play with LeBron. There's a lot of
That's true.
behind the scenes stuff we don't know. There's a lot of stuff behind the scenes we don't know. Like, all right, LeBron is this kind of person off the court. Who knows? So people don't want to deal with that. LaMarcus Aldridge is 35. He's like, look, I don't want to go there and deal with that stuff. So he's like, look, let me go see what happened over here in Brooklyn. But I mean, we gonna win it all anyway. But people can hate all they want. It's all
Yeah,
good.
exactly. I mean, look, man, and this to like, kind of bring it all together. Like what you guys said is true. I mean, look, man, people want to get mad at, they want to get mad. Look, the days of having parity in NBA and having like teams with 2 stars on it and building like the draft and people staying loyal, that is gone. People are going after money and people are also going after championships. You have people like Blake Griffin, everybody was saying was washed. He was a bum. He's not good anymore. Same thing they did with Russell Westbrook in the beginning of the season. They said the same thing about LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge, look who it is. The one, there you go, Tyrone with Hollister right there. I mean, y'all can't see him because I'm talking, but I can see him in the camera. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have like LaMarcus Aldridge. Everybody's like, oh, he's not that good anymore. He's not serviceable, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. All these things they were saying, right? But at the same time, now that he's on the Nets, oh, how much more? All these all-stars. It's like you guys said, it still have to make it work together. Like when they got James Harden, they still have to make it work together. Brooklyn has built a foundation and a culture that players want to come there and play. They see how the guys are having fun. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, yes, but they see how the guys have that kind of camaraderie. They want to play with each other. Unfortunately, with LeBron, the stigma that comes with him, he does pick his guys when he does, and he do what he do, and nobody say nothing. But the problem is that when you play with LeBron and you lose, it's your fault, not LeBron's, right? If you win, it's LeBron. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of guys don't want to deal with that. And it's like there's no guarantee that the Lakers will win and get out the West. Like if you look at it, the way Brooklyn is stacked, and anything can happen in playoffs. God forbid somebody get hurt, a team could go on a hot streak. The Brooklyn Nets could just be bumming it. You just don't know. But the way it stands, Brooklyn has a better chance of getting out the East. The East has gotten better, especially with these trade deadlines and these moves. It's just that those guys are still not battle tested yet. Most of the guys on Brooklyn have been battle tested in some way, shape, or form in the playoffs, and you have champions in Kyrie and freaking Kevin Durant. And I think was Jeff Green part of the Nets team? No, the Celtics team. No. So yeah, those guys. So I say all that to say is that people are gonna hate, right? But I just want people to be just fair. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't hate on an individual team because, like I said, KD is not the GM, right? And not hate on what somebody else is doing. Now, let's be honest here. Yes, star players do have a say in getting certain things done and getting certain players to play with and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, they're still players. The only player who I see who has a bigger role when it comes to handpicking players is LeBron James. Every team LeBron James goes to, they alter the team to fit his needs, right? He is a star player. I get it. But he'll go there. He was like, I don't want this guy. I don't think like, could I get rid of Andrew Wiggins? And I want Kevin Love. He's more, battle tested. I want this person. I want that. And they'll make it happen. Right? So at the end of the day, I don't want to hear nobody saying nothing about that, about the Nets, because the Lakers would do it. And if the Lakers would did it, nobody would have said nothing. They're like, oh, LeBron need this and LeBron need that. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Go ahead, Hollis. You have a question? Give your hand up.
And you know what else? If Brooklyn wins it all, right? They're gonna still say, "Oh, KD had to do this. He had to get this play, that play." Like, man went to Brooklyn. First, they were saying, "Can he win it by himself?" Now he has this whole stack team. They're gonna still say something about it, like, "Oh, he had to get Harden, LaMarcus, Blake." It's like, come on. First, y'all was complaining about we gave up Jared Allen, Karis LeVert. Then y'all was complaining about we not playing no defense. Now we got a on pretty much a complete team. We just need like probably another wing or point guard because we have one more roster spot open. Let's see what they're gonna say next about that.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that was it.
No, I mean, you're right, because like you said, it's like they take away the skill set of the guy. Like I said, LeBron and them did the whole, cats in a prime coming together. Him, Bosh, and D Wade in Miami. Now, granted, look, the first year somebody said, "Oh, the Nets don't win this year. Oh, it's a bust," and they're gonna try to get him. I'm like, look, man, LeBron and D Wade didn't win their first year, and they lost to a Dirk Nowitzki led Mavs team with Jason Kidd and them. They lost to a team that was solid. That was a team that shows that not all the time having all these players on the same team can work. Right? It happens. Like Malik said earlier, they had Karl Malone, Gary Payton, all these other guys that was playing on the Lakers, and they didn't win that year. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't guarantee things. Do I feel that the Nets will win the championship? Yes. Do I feel that they have enough to do it? Yes. Do I feel that they're going to win the championship? Yes. But we don't know. Still, we don't know. We don't even know how hurt KD is. You know what I mean? KD could be even more hurt, which is why they did these moves. We don't even know. But at the end of the day, right, it's not a guarantee. So I hate the fact that people 1 minute saying, "Oh, Blake Griffin is trash and this person is garbage and they don't stand a chance." And all of a sudden now they go on the team, they're looking at the name on the paper, and all of a sudden the team is like freaking unbeatable, making jokes about like, the Avengers and all this other stuff like that. And LeBron is Thanos and giving like the LeBron effect, like, oh, Golden State lost in 2016, so they had to go get Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? LeBron won in 2020. Now the Nets have all these players. Like, no, LeBron and them won in 2016. The Golden State Warriors, they dropped the ball in it. That was a 73-9 win team without Kevin Durant, and they were actually beating the Cavs. It wasn't like they needed Kevin Durant. Now, adding Kevin Durant was a cheat code, yeah, but they didn't need him. You know what I'm saying? The same way how this thing that we don't even know what's happening. And the Lakers are good. I don't think they're that great. And then they got the arguably top two players in the league, AD and LeBron. Okay? So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. And like I said, guys, stop hating. Just enjoy the games. I mean, it's already bad as it is that nobody's really watching the games like that anymore. 'Cause like Malik said, it got to the point where we just knew Golden State's making it to the finals, and the Cavs, whoever team LeBron was on, was going to make it to the finals. That's what we knew. You know what I'm saying? So it's like at the end of the day,
Appreciate them while they playing.
I appreciate why they're playing, because these guys in their 30s, man. And a lot of these guys shelf life be like 35, 36, they going. Like, not everybody going to be like LeBron playing past this age, you know what I mean, playing at that level. Some of these guys will be wrapping up. I remember when Kevin Durant was even talking about at one point retiring at 35. Retiring 36.
Yeah.
The man is 32, I think, or 33. So that's a couple of
30,
more years.
he'll
If
be
he,
33.
yeah, he's gonna be 33. So that's like something that you could think about. And if all these great players will be watching, will be gone. So stop hating this. Enjoy the games while they can. You know, y'all can calm down the parade route with us and do your thing. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's gonna wrap it for today. I mean, we'll try to get some more in this week. You know what I mean? A lot more things happening in sports, but we just had to touch base on these things. And I want to thank Hollister and Malik for joining me. We just, y'all can't see it. Y'all couldn't see it because Hollister wasn't talking, but Tyrone is over there at Hollister's crib. Just that he can't really record today. But, you know, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? It does help the channel grow. We're getting some nice feedback. I'm looking at the views. The views are starting to get higher. I really do appreciate it. Like I said, let us know what we can talk about. If you like the frequency of these videos, if y'all want us to, like, you know, pace it, whatever, just let us know. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy the rest of your evening, and God bless.